what's up guys, this is Shravan Venkatraman, and in this episode of Yes We Talk Education, we are going to discuss what are the steps that you need to take in order for you to apply for Masters or PhD in Canada, Europe and United States. Let's get to it. Step number 1. Most people make the mistake of writing their GRE and TOEFL as the step number 1, which should not be the case. If you do as I say, you are going to end up saving at least $100 to $200 as part of your application process. The step number 1 should not be GRE and TOEFL. The step number 1 should be for you to shortlist the program and the colleges that you are going to apply to. Why? Why am I specifying this strongly? There is a reason. I ended up wasting at least $200 because of this mistake that I did. I also chose to write GRE and TOEFL first and then decided to shortlist programs, which was a huge mistake. The reason I'm saying this is because in GRE and TOEFL you have the ability to send your scores to 4 universities for free. Beyond that, you need to pay around $27 for GRE and $20 for TOEFL per university. So if you are going to specify a university which you are not going to apply to in your GRE and TOEFL free score list, you are going to end up losing close to $27 per university for GRE free score and $20 per university for TOEFL free score. So I ended up giving a list of 4 colleges in the free score list, out of which I did not apply to 3 universities because of poor decision management. So that is what I'm going to cover in this first point. First things first, you need to shortlist the colleges that you want to apply to. Got it? You need to know what program you're going to apply to and you need to shortlist colleges. This is my suggestion of how you can go about it. Shortlist 30 colleges, among which you have to do further research, and then you have to shortlist the final list of 10 to 12 colleges that you can apply to. Okay, I will give you a suggestion of how to go about this. In this process of applying for graduate program, have a realistic assessment of your own profile. When I say your profile, it includes stuff like GRE, TOEFL, GPA, your past projects, your research experience, your publications, all of those things will come under this. For now, since you are doing this as a first step, before even GRE and TOEFL, you have to exclude GRE and TOEFL out of this assessment and give yourself a realistic estimate of a range between 2 numbers as your GRE and TOEFL score, and based on that you have to do a realistic assessment of your profile, where you stand amongst the pool of applicants that will apply for those programs that particular year. I would actually suggest you to use different resources to have this kind of realistic estimate. There are resources like Yocket website you can approach, and you can use Yocket group on Facebook. Edulix is there, Grad Cafe is there, and you can also use LinkedIn profile. Like you can do a brute force search on LinkedIn for different kinds of profiles based on the colleges. Like let's say if you want to attend Stanford University, you go look at the kind of people that Stanford has accepted in the past few years. Like last 3 years would be a realistic estimate, because anything beyond that you would actually not have a realistic estimate of what kind of profiles got in. So based on the colleges that you are going to look at, I mean, even before your shortlisting, you would have a better idea of what kind of colleges you want to go to. So based on that, you do a brute force search on LinkedIn. You look at the profiles that have gotten admitted in the previous years on Yocket, Grad Cafe, Edulix and other websites. Do this research. You also post your own profile in those groups for a realistic assessment. People who have already gone there will be providing some help in those forums. Once you arrive at a realistic list of colleges, based on other people's recommendation, and you can also look at Yocket profile recommender, where you fill in your scores and your GPA and other things, and you get recommendations of colleges. You can use this list as a tentative list, go through rankings. So rankings wise, I would suggest US News ranking for United States and Times Higher Education for other world university rankings. You can also use Shanghai ranking website. I'll include the links in the description below. So using these ranking websites, you rank the colleges based on how highly they are ranked and what parameters are used for ranking them. For computer science, there is a website called CS Ranking, which ranks the programs and colleges based on the research output, which is helpful for people going for PhD and research oriented masters. May not be helpful for people going for jobs. So depending on the program you're applying to, you have to do this research. And then once you have a realistic estimate of what your profile is and where you stand and what kind of colleges have people with similar profile gotten admitted to in the last 2-3 years, you can then arrive at a list of 30 colleges. I would not suggest more than 30, but you have to arrive at a list of 30 colleges. The main work that you have to do is after this list is arrived at. So once you have this list of 30 colleges, what you need to do is you have to go to each and every one of those program websites. Like if you're applying for masters in statistics, you go to Harvard statistics website and look at their graduate program, look into their admission requirements, look into their program requirements. Look at some programs will definitely give you their baseline for GRE, GPA and TOEFL scores and all. So you need to look at those also. And these websites, these course websites will have information about duration of the program, the tuition fees, and other information like whether you're allowed to take part in teaching assistantships or research assistantships, whether you get full tuition waiver or not, whether you are funded or not, whether there is a possibility of collaborating with professors or not. All of these details will be available in the program website. Mostly, like in 99% cases, you will have them available, and you need to use that to arrive into a list of 10 colleges from those 30 colleges. I say 10 because see, each application is going to take at least on average $90. So you are going to spend at least close to 1.5 lakhs. If you have so much money, you can go ahead and apply. But this entire process, including GRE, TOEFL, application submission and all other things combined, will definitely cost you at least 1 lakh. So if you are willing to spend more than that, you can apply to more than 10 colleges. If not, do not apply to more than 10 colleges. Just stick to 10 as a number. When shortlisting colleges as 10 colleges, most people suggest the system of ambitious, moderate and safe. In my opinion, it's absolutely bullshit as a system for shortlisting colleges. If you are desperate to go to US or Canada or Europe and you definitely want to go for a master's degree and you can take anything that is given to you, then you can follow that system. But in my opinion, a better way to approach admissions would be to apply to only those colleges which you will attend if only that college gave you an admit and rest of the colleges gave you rejects. That is what I did with my applications. I'm actually waiting for my decisions, but that's what I also suggest everybody else who come to me for recommendations or suggestions based on their profile for colleges. So if you have, if you see some sense in this idea, then follow this. You can, apply only to those colleges you will definitely go to if only that college gave you an admit. Okay. So once you have this list of 10 colleges shortlisted based on certain parameters, like some people would prefer more funding to be available. Some people cannot afford programs which are highly costly. Some people have some location preferences, like people in computer sciences prefer to have California location or Texas more than other states. And some people also prefer certain things like climate, like even climate throughout there. Some people would be fine with snow, winter and all that. So based on your preferences, you arrive at a list of 10 colleges that you will definitely go to if you were given an admit only in that particular college. And then the real work starts. What you need to do now is to approach seniors, if you have any, studying in those colleges, or current students on LinkedIn, and ask the details about things that are not mentioned in the program website. There are a lot of things, like if you're going for a research program and you want to work with a particular professor, you have to understand if that professor is actually still there, because a lot of program websites do not update their list of professors currently active or inactive and currently moved out or moving out to another college. So you need to understand that, and you need to inquire people. If you're going for research programs, you would also need to understand the quality of a lab and how a particular professor is. Even if your interests match, you need to understand if you will be a better fit to that lab and that group and how they work, their work dynamic. In order to understand that, you have to approach the people who are working with that lab or that professor, and you have to talk to them. You can do this through LinkedIn, and I have been successful at approaching students, current students and alumni, and them responding to me. But it's not going to happen if you just if you just message two people and they won't reply, then you're not going to get any reply at all. What I followed is a different system, which I will cover in a different video. But for now, this is the first step that you need to take, and you have to spend at least 1 to 1.5 months in this research, because this is absolutely crucial. So when you are applying for GRE and TOEFL, the 4 colleges that you are going to give to the free list of free score list that can be sent to these colleges, you have to make sure that you will definitely apply to those 4 colleges. There should not be any kind of changes in that decision at all. A lot of people do change those decisions, and I myself did not end up applying for like 3 colleges out of that 4, and I lost around $250. But that's the mistake that I want to help you avoid. So you should absolutely do your research on the colleges that you are applying to.